was reflecting that disability is now being talked about everywhere. It's not obviously, we're not seeing a huge amount of progress just yet, but the fact that we are talking about the NDIS, we're talking about the National Disability Strategy, we're talking about the Quality and Safety Framework, etc. You have all played a role in getting us to this point. You've advocated for years, you've lobbied members of Parliament, you've worked with bureaucrats. Yes, the wheels of government move slowly, far too slowly for my liking and I'm sure for everyone liking here. But the fact that in 2017 we are where we are is testimony to your work and to your commitment. So I think you should be very proud of yourself, and of course we need to keep moving forward. I'm going to speak very briefly on 3 things, and those 3 things are half of my 6 priority areas. I've developed 6 priority areas to guide my work for the rest of my term. Those 6 areas are employment, education, housing, criminal justice system, violence against people with disability, and of course the NDIS. And I'm going to speak very briefly about employment, violence, and NDIS. The fact that we've still got a long way to go with employing people with disability in open employment is illustrated, I think, best by 2 things. For the last 5 years at least, of all the complaints that we've received at the Human Rights Commission, employment has consistently been at the top 1 or 2 of those complaints. And of those complaints of employment, more than half of them are about issues that people experience in the workplace. But the other fact that I think illustrates the importance of how much more we need to do is when we look at the rate of employment of people with disability in the public service, last figures were around 3.5, and they have not changed for at least, 3.5% of the workforce. So that hasn't changed for over 20 years. So we are beyond, the time has passed for more inquiries, the time has passed for more rhetoric. It's about meaningful action. And so if I can now segue to the NDIS, and I believe that the NDIS plays a critical role in expanding or, in increasing the employment of people with disability in the workplace. I've spent the last year listening about the NDIS. Now I need to say, as I've said this before, I'm not the NDIS Commissioner, as much as I would love to be, but I am here. My mandate is to make sure that the NDIS is implemented in that broader human rights framework. We need to see the NDIS implemented in a way that respects the rights and dignity of all people with disability. Now, only a small percentage of people with disability in Australia will actually get NDIS packages when the NDIS is fully implemented. So it's important to remind the government and our stakeholders, bureaucrats, that we still have 90% of people with disabilities who won't get a direct package. So we need to keep them in mind as well. It is the role of the NDIS, it is the role of the Department of Social Services through the National Disability Strategy, and it is the role of service providers, including in the mainstream. I'm hoping early in the new year to start conducting consultation or roundtable or discussion with everyone to identify what are the emerging human rights issues from the NDIS. And there are some. For example, choice and control. What we really mean when we say that. We really mean the choice for anyone with a disability in the NDIS to choose exactly what they want, not be told by a service provider what they need or what they might need, but for true independence, people need to choose where they want to live, where they work, who provides the support to them, and so forth. So that's just one example of where I think it's important to observe and to let me know, and that's your role, what you think are the critical human rights issues. I met with the CEO of the NDIA this morning, and so I've alerted him to this, and it's important because the NDIS Act itself, while it captures Article 19 of the International Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disability, the right to live independently in the community. In my view, the entire NDIS legislation did not truly reflect human rights approach. And so it's important that all of us work towards ensuring that the NDIS is implemented within the CRPD or the Convention. And last but not least, the issue of violence against people with disabilities. And I want to commend the great work that Victoria has done in particular around a zero tolerance approach, or trying to get a zero tolerance approach, as well as getting some safeguards and policies and procedures across all government departments. So I commend Victoria, and what I'm doing now is at a national level, mapping all of that work. There is no current appetite at federal level for a Royal Commission, so I want to make sure that we do whatever we can arising from the 2015 inquiry that many of you are familiar with, to ensure that there are outcomes from that inquiry until, if or when, a Royal Commission may be called. And I've just employed a senior policy officer to work with me specifically on that issue. So I will welcome any feedback you have or any comments you have about that issue. And in closing, I want to just again reiterate, when I look around and I see lots of familiar faces, and I look forward to meeting those of you I haven't met before, the work you've done, whether singularly or collectively or with organisation, we are where we are in 2017. Yes, we've still got a long way to go. We've still not seen true implementation of the National Disability Strategy. The NDIS is an important part, but it's only one part of the National Disability Strategy. So we've come a long way. We've got the Convention, which is now just over 10 years old. Australia ratified it next year will be 10th anniversary of the ratification, and also the Disability Discrimination Act, CDA, will be 25 next March. So these are important milestones. Again, we've come a long way, and I look forward to continuing to advocate for our full rights and full inclusion in the community, and thank you again for having me.